Hi, I'm Erin Soley, and this is On Air with Agency on Aging.
And I'm Daryl Willenbrock, and I'm also with the Agency on Aging, and we are here today with Kimberly Johnston, a fitness instructor at Fitness at the Edge, of which I am a member,
Yes.
and we're here today to talk about healthy exercising. So we're going to go through a few basic motions, and we're going to talk about a few basic exercises that are good for every individual at all levels of health. First things we'd like to ask are, what are some of your recommendations, Kimberly, for exercising?
Well, the American Heart Association recommends that females get cardiovascular exercise 7 days a week, about an hour a day, and males 6 days.
Yeah.
I don't know why the difference is with the hour, but there is a difference with the day. The way, now you don't have to do the whole hour at one time. It can be divided out throughout the day. So if you do have a busy schedule or you're not there cardiovascular, you can do 10 minutes at one portion. Busy through the day, you can pretty much clock everything that you're doing to put them together. And it's regardless of your age, whether you're 4 or 94, it's whatever you're able to do.
And do you have to do the cardiovascular exercise for a certain duration in order to get a benefit?
No, as I mentioned before, you could go 10 minutes in the morning throughout the day. What is important is that you try to push as far as you can. There is something referred to as being in your zone, your cardiovascular target zone, which would be a percentage of your maximum heart rate. There's a formula that is used for that, 220 minus your age times the percentage. But what's important, and what I'd really like to do, is to keep it as basic and straightforward as possible so we don't start getting into a lot of, well, what about this, what about that? It's just really important to move.
And one of my goals right now is in joining the center is that I can get myself back into a healthy mode, and I'm working with Kimberly to do that. But a question to you is, if somebody is not overweight, why should they exercise?
Lots of reasons for that, and I'm glad you brought that up, because many people think that the only reason to exercise is to lose weight. But there's so many benefits, no matter what journal you're reading, the New England Journal of Medicine, anything from the AHA, the ADA, it always says that exercise is beneficial. It helps prevent cancer. Bone density, osteoporosis, and osteopenia are on the rise. In females, very high. It is coming across in males as well. Exercise, increase in bone density is extremely important. Blood pressure responds highly to exercise. So not only the losing the weight is a benefit, but if you're not overweight, you need to move. It affects your quality of life, it releases stress, and we just feel better.
Oh, I believe that.
Yeah.
I need to ask you, though, do we need special equipment? Do you recommend special
Absolutely
equipment
not.
for these exercises?
Absolutely not. You don't need it, even though I have a gym and we do have equipment and we do things like that. All you need is your body. Your body is, you know, there's a company that refers to as your body is your machine, and you don't need special equipment. You just need a place to be, some fresh air, or a way to cool down so you don't get too hot, and you just move.
You know, I need to ask you this because I take a lot of the classes at your center, and I know I try to push myself, but how can I tell if I'm working up to my capacity or not?
Good question. We touched on it briefly about the target zone. The way you can really tell if you're pushing yourself hard enough without having to buy, you can buy things that you fit around your wrist. The true way to tell where your pulse is to check it, you know, your carotid artery and count it. And obviously, if you're exercising, you don't want to do that. You don't have to buy the fancy equipment. And what we always train, and I train individuals, is to go by the talk test. And that's simply when you're warming up before you're going to try to get into that zone, doing the best that you can for exertion, is you want to be able, for that first 3 or so minutes, to be able to talk like we're doing without a problem. You can carry on a conversation without any trouble. Then when you get into the bulk of your routine, which you want to be, you know, if you can get to that 30 minutes of being in your zone, you want to be able to talk, but you'd rather not. So if I said, Daryl, how are you? And you're working out, I'm good. How are you, Kimberly? And that would be your answer. But if I came to you and I said, Erin, how are you? You would be anaerobic. So you'd be a little further past, you'd be past that 85–90% of your maximum heart rate. So you would want to bring it down a little bit. So that's how you know if you're working hard enough. So if you're even alone by yourself, talk to yourself. We all do it. I know women do. I'm assuming men do as well. So if you're able to talk without a problem, you're not working hard enough. Pick it up a little bit. Move those arms a little more. If your legs don't move the way they want to, pump those arms. Do whatever you can, whatever part of your body that does move well, move it harder, and you'll find your heart rate will come up, and then you'll be in that zone and you'll get maximum benefit.
So you should probably do this even if you're taking a walk.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So Kimberly, then how would you know if you're working too hard?
You would not be able to talk, as we mentioned.
all.
Yes, you would be, that would be when you were anaerobic, so you would come down. The only time there's any recommendations for being anaerobic is when you're training for something, and it would be for 30 seconds to a minute. But typically, in general, no, I would never recommend going anaerobic. You always want to be where you could get a breath in, you're not gasping. And there's also other recommendations to take into account. If you're on a beta blocker, you have to watch. You're always on the lower end of where your heart, so your warm-up period wouldn't be just 3 minutes. It might be 10 or 15 minutes that you're going to where you could talk without a problem. So you really need to be aware of what medications you are on and talk to your physician when it comes to that, especially a beta blocker.
So that's good to know, for especially for those of us that are over 60.
Absolutely.
You guys don't have to worry about that.
Good.
Let me ask you a question. So I hear the statement, no pain, no gain. Is that true?
No. That's a statement as a trainer. I know there's many trainers that cannot stand that statement. I don't know, probably originated in the 80s, I'm assuming, but no pain, no gain is not true. It does not have to hurt. Pain is a negativity, and so we want you to be encouraged and want you to continue to exercise. It increases longevity, and again, we talked about quality of life. It gets you feeling healthier. So if you're feeling pain, you're not going to want to go back the next day. Now, what's the definition of pain? Joint pain. Your muscle, is your muscle sore? Okay, that's one thing, but does it feel like it's pulled? That's a different kind of pain. Are you going to have some soreness or some fatigue? Absolutely. That's healthy pain. That's not true pain. That's muscle soreness. That's fatigue. But if a joint hurts, if it's too much, as if you're performing the exercise, something twinges or pulls, you simply stop. And there's so many ways to modify things. So if you do go to a gym, if you are going to a health center, if you are going to a class, and something is hurting you within the class or what you're doing, ask the trainer, ask somebody around, how can I modify this because this is hurting me, but I still want the benefit. There's always another way to perform any exercise.
Let me ask you this. If I feel like the muscle is burning, is that good, bad, or indifferent?
If you feel like the muscle is burning, that's okay. It's producing lactic acid, but you would want to, definitely if you feel that, you would want to make sure your joint is okay, that you have proper form, so that you're not tearing. And you also want to evaluate, was I here yesterday and I worked my quadricep, I worked my thigh, and so you're burning, maybe you did a little too much, and you would want to back off. You don't want extreme pain, you don't want extreme burning, but sometimes when you're doing higher repetitions with just your own body weight, you may feel that burning. But you do want to take a day of rest if you did have a lot of lactic acid buildup, to give your body a day to absorb that.
Because I know some of these television shows that we watch seem to be pushing them to extremes, and I'm not sure if that's the healthiest thing to get across
It's not always,
to our viewers.
no, because a lot of times it's misconstrued. It's taken in the wrong context. Okay. Everybody's an individual, and everybody's body is different, and so that's why it's really important to know your own body. If you have somebody around that can help you recognize it, or talk to your physician, or talk to your gym, find out, help them recognize what your capabilities, your abilities are, and then you move from there. Buying just tapes, buying things like that is not enough. It can be very dangerous. Also check out the qualifications of the places that you are. Is the person certified? Do they know what they're talking about? Because if you hurt yourself, you're less likely to exercise, and I don't care how old you are. You know, we always make a statement, whether you're 4 or 104, you've got to protect the joints. You need nice shoes. You need a good floor to work on. You can't just hurt yourself, because you won't continue. You'll stop.
Right.
And that's detrimental.
So I'm the one that wants to get in shape, so I'm going to ask you, where do I start?
Where do you start? You start by taking a look at yourself and seeing, health-wise, okay, what can I do? Do I have any physical ailments? What medications am I on that I do need to be aware of and let my trainer know or talk to my physician about? Do I have a back problem? Does my shoulder bother me? How am I sleeping? You really want to do a self-check of yourself to see if there's anything you need to be aware of. Then if you can afford and you can go somewhere, you supply all that information so they can better serve you. If not, then you try to find research the best that you can on what you are able to do. But I do encourage you, if you do have some kind of injury, you want to make sure that you're aware of it and you do get advice on how to moderate, how to change something for you. But you get started by making a plan, a realistic plan. So often individuals will say, okay, I'm going to work out and get in health. It's January 1st. I can't tell you the amount of people we have come in and join the gym January, and we laugh that by February, 2/3 of them we won't see as often, you know, and not laugh in a good way, but an accurate way. And we get all excited, but we bite off more than we can chew. We say 7 days a week, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. So the way to get started is to evaluate yourself health-wise.
Okay.
And then to make a plan, a realistic plan of how much time you have to devote and how you're going to do it. So you say, okay, Daryl says, I have 3 days a week that I know with my busy schedule I can do 3 days a week. How much time at one point can you do? Well, in the morning I'm rushing, I only have 20 minutes. Great. 20 minutes is what you do. What are you going to do in that 20 minutes? Well, you know, it's summer, it's really hot, but I get up early so I can walk. Go for your 20-minute walk. Wonderful. Now we still have another 15, 20 minutes to fit in. When are you going to do that? Well, when I get at home. Wonderful. What are you going to do for that time? So you make a plan, and then what you'll start to find is that you feel better, and you're pumped up. You feel great, you know. You want to do more, and so you start doing more because it becomes part of your life. And one antidote, you know, I always say is you want exercise to become like brushing your teeth. We do it twice a day, no matter what. No matter what, we try to do it. We work our way up. Now, do we always brush our teeth at night as good as we did in the morning? Not always. Do we always floss? No, but we still get in there and we still try to do it. And that's where we want exercise to fit into your life, is it's just part of what we do because our bodies need it.
I know my problem is when I come home at night, it's like, oh, I'm so tired, I don't want to do this.
Yes.
But I know, like, the 2 nights that I'm at your place, I just get in and bang it out.
Yeah, well, groups help, encouragement. Find an exercise buddy, very, very important. Will help you, you know, even if it's, you know, you don't have any better on your little puppy dog or your kitty cat, bring him in the room. Call a friend and say, hey, on this day, let's meet up or we're going to do this. Let's go for a walk. Get your significant other. Buddy system does work, but if not, just remember, I encourage people to write down, how did you feel after you exercised? It's always, you know, I felt so much better. I slept so much better. Write that down so the next time you come home and you are exhausted, you look at that piece of paper and say, you know what? I did feel better. I'm going to do this. And if you can't give 110%, give what you can because it is additive. It does build.
Okay.
Very important.
So what is it you would like us to do? Can you show us a few?
I would like to use Erin as my little guinea pig here to show one of the most important things is that we have proper form and we don't want her. So she'll give a stand here. If you are going to be working out at home, you do want to, if you don't have weights or the equipment, that's fine. We do have our body. One thing is important is your stance and posture. So you always want to have your shoulders down away from your ears. If Erin had her shoulders up in her ears, they'd be lifted, and there's lots of tension here through the neck. We get enough of that. So we want to just take a deep breath and relax. You breathe in, as you notice Erin breathed in through the nose and out the mouth. Very important. We hold our breath. I don't know if you've ever caught yourself in the middle of the day, all of a sudden you go, why are you doing that? Because you've been holding your breath. So very important to continue to breathe. Shoulders are away from the ears, through the ears. Shoulders are back. And the other important thing, torso nice and tall.
Am I tall?
Belly, you're tall.
Okay.
You're tall. Belly is in. So as we inhale through the nose, notice how her rib cage rises and she exhales out. Blowing the air out, belly comes in. You want to think about bringing the belly button to the back. Breathe. Don't hyperventilate. Breathe as you need to. Just try to remember to relax. Even though you're exerting your body, you're relaxing. The other important thing is you notice is her stance. Her hands are by her side to begin, and her knees are soft. We'll refer to as softness. What does that mean? Show us a locked knee, Erin. We lock our knees. What do we do when we lock our knees, which means they're perfectly straight? We put a lot of pressure on our lower back. We get enough of that. We don't need that. By wearing bad shoes, we get that. By standing on hard floors, we don't need that. So when you're going to exercise, you want to soften those knees, and you also want to spread them at least shoulder width apart, which she has, or greater. So then you distribute your body weight so your back again is protected. So how are we going to work? Let's say we want to work our biceps, the upper part of our arm, and we don't have any weights. Let's see, Erin's got some guns right here, so show us your guns. You want to work, there we go. We want to work our biceps. So we can do that without any weights. So just bring your arms by your side, palms up, which would be the palm here. This is Erin's midline. Palms up, her arms are out to the side, palms are looking, and she's simply just going to curl up and down. And you want to think about like a 4 count. Up, 1, 2, 3, 4, and down. Now as she's breathing and relaxing, she's simply squeezing, and what you can do is visualize that you have like 100 pounds in those hands. And you don't have to, but that muscle is working. Nice, methodic, as fluid as I will say a lot of times. Pretend you're in the water and you're pushing through. You want to relax. You want to start with a set of 8 to 10 if you can, and then work yourself up. As you get stronger, pick up some cans. You can use cans or water bottles. And then if you find you want to go and buy some hand weights, they're not real expensive to work your biceps. Now you always want to work opposing. So if we want to work the bicep, the front of the arm, we certainly want to get this tricep. So what would we do? Shoulders are down away from the arms, by our side, arms are tucked. So we have an L shape here, knees are soft, and instead of bringing the force forward, we're going to kick it back. So she's going to press her arm back, straightening to the back. Just, nope, you're okay. Straighten back and forward. Now see the motion from this side. Now Erin, just turn sideways for me. And watch, right here is her muscle, so kicking back and in. She's working her tricep. This is an area that's very hard to target because unlike the bicep, we use the bicep throughout the day when we pick things up. The tricep doesn't get used. But anytime you work your biceps, you always want to work the opposing muscle to have balance and strength. Excellent. Thank you. Turn around here. And the other thing, say you can't get up and down off the floor, but you want to work your abs. So that's simple enough too. So spread those feet a little wider than shoulder width apart. Shoulders are down and back. Abs are in, and you're going to just do a simple rounding of the shoulders and then tall. Now notice as Erin rounds, she's exhaling and she's squeezing. So round the shoulders, squeezing the belly. Easy enough. Now remember, you don't want these to come up around your ears. It's easy to do. So let's round again. The chin tucks just slightly, squeeze and release. That's just like doing a crunch on the floor. You can also do it in the chair very safely.
I feel it right
yes,
there.
you feel it right there, absolutely, without a problem. It's amazing how much you can do. Now, I caution you, you see a lot of times people twisting. Go ahead and do some slow twists for me, so just turn, because they want to work the side obliques. If you're going to do this, if you have osteoporosis or osteopenia, I recommend that you do not, and you talk to your physician first. The rib cage area is one area that we are highly prone to fracturing, and twisting isn't always the best way. If you are going to do this, you want to take even a wider stance. Knees are soft, tall, torso's tall. Now let's turn and continue as you were doing. Nice and slow, keeping the hips still. So you're working the abs and just a few. You don't want to turn too much because you can hurt that lower back. Thank you, Erin. Now let's get to those thighs that we want to work. They're so important to us. So you simply take a wider stance, so widen those feet, and we can do just a nice little squat. Let's put our hands on our hips. You're going to stick your hiney back as if she were going to sit on a chair. So just a little squat and up. Now notice, go ahead and keep squatting. One thing hopefully you can see is you do not want the knees to go past the toe. So as Erin squats, she can take a look at your toes. Can you see your toes past your knees?
Yes.
Beautiful, then you're in perfect form. So she can continue to squat. She's working here, and she's also working her glutes, her backside. But her hips are in alignment and her knees are not in trouble. Now, if you cannot perform squats because you do have knee or hip problems, you can simply do those in a chair, and I'll get to those in a minute on how you can work those. So standing nice and tall. You also want to work on that balance, so bring those feet closer together for me. And let's take that left foot and put your heel out and then point your toe. Heel, toe. Now notice what Erin's doing very well is that she's keeping her knee soft. The stationary knee is soft, her shoulders are down and back, and she's keeping her torso, her midline, in alignment. So not only is she strengthening her balance, improving her balance, she's strengthening her leg, and she's stretching out the front of her leg, her shin.
Now, Kimberly, I have a question.
Yes.
If I were doing this and I was wobbling, would it be okay to hold something?
Excellent, absolutely. You can always hold on to something to improve your balance. And what you want to do is not hold with almighty grip.
Okay.
Don't try to milk some milk out of a table. Just hold with your fingertips. Because so often we do that and then we get tension up through here. So that's an excellent question. You do want to hold on, but it's a great way to improve our balance. And you can also, as if you were holding on, so why don't you do that, bring that knee up. So if you can't do squat, bend the leg for me, and let's go to the quadricep and lower. So notice the muscle, she's working her quadricep, and her back is protected because her knee is soft, and she's not worried about falling because she's holding on to the table. Okay. So she's nice and safe. So you can work head to toe no matter what. Now, if she were not able to stand, we would have her sit in the chair. See if we can pull that over and it'll work okay. Good. Have her sit in the chair and do a leg extension. So what I want you to do, Erin, is just lift the leg up, bent position. Good. Now extend and back. Now what's important here again is she's maintaining that nice posture. Lift the leg for me, extend, and she's not locking out the knee. You always want to keep a softness. And go ahead and continue the movement. And think about a 1, 2, 3, 4 fluid movement. Again, fluid like we talked about with the arms. You want to do the same thing with the leg. You don't want to lock out that joint. There's no benefit to that. You want to move smoothly. Also, if you throw out the leg, you risk injuring yourself, and there's no benefit. You're getting momentum, and it's almost cheating. So you hurt yourself and you cheat if you throw with momentum. You want to be nice and slow. Those abs that we showed standing can also be done in a seated position. So again, if you can't stand for very long, or you don't like to, or you have feet, we have plantar fasciitis I hear over and over at the gym, sit down and we can do the crunches as well. So round that body, exhaling, good, and tucking the chin, and tall, and tucking the chin. Beautiful. And of course, you'd like to stretch when you're done. You've warmed up, and you don't want to go into the head to toe working out until you have warmed up for at least 3 to 5 minutes, and that can be marching in place, or if you are seated in a chair, just pump those arms. You don't have to be able to stand if you don't want to. You can sit, you can lift. As you notice, she's also lifting her feet, or you can walk and then come back and do head to toe. And again, it required no equipment. Able to do, and then we would do simple stretches, so bringing your arm across, stretching out that shoulder. Perfect. And then the other side. And also we can relax, shoulders down and back, and bring your chin to your chest, breathing and exhaling. Beautiful. Excellent.
Can I ask a question? What are some good exercises for balance?
For balance, the one that we
for seniors.
Excellent, right. Well, one, as we showed, sitting, you can sit on the edge of your seat, which Erin is doing, tall, and then what you can do, make sure your feet are flat on the floor, which she's doing, and then just simply extend the arms out in front of you. You want to make sure they're not past shoulder height, they're right out in front, and you're breathing as you go, and you're holding. Anytime you put, we'll call this a lever, away from its core. Your belly is the core. You hear the belly referred to all the time as your core. What's your core? It's your tummy. Anytime you move out, you have to balance. Your body has to adjust for the lever being away from its home. So this, even in a seated position, will improve your balance. Now, if she wanted to relax the arms down, if she's okay with standing,